Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm gonna hop right to it. Doing an oil change on the XJ. It definitely needs an oil change. It's long overdue. Who knows when the last time it's been done. Picked up some high mileage oil, a Wix filter, recommended in all the forums and friends of mine. And I always put the Lucas oil stabilizer in there. The 32 ounces is what I use. Here's the tools I use pretty much every time. You gotta have an oil pan, lots of paper towels. I usually go through a whole roll. Filter, wrench, funnel, sockets, and gloves. It gets kind of messy. You only wear them if you're a sissy. First thing I do is take off the cap and I make sure that this kind of relieves some pressure and put a paper towel in there. Just kind of pointing out here the location of the filter. Usually put cardboard down or something so I don't have to stain my driveway up. This socket here is a 5/8 inch socket. It's on there pretty good. I don't know who tightened that down, but they did a good job. Also, it's pretty tight underneath the XJ. I don't have the clearance like the TJ. Sorry for bumping the camera there. I'm glad you're still able to see the drain plug. You want to be kind of quick with this. It's going to make a mess. Just make sure your oil pan catcher is right under there and it's kind of centered perfectly in there because it's going to kind of move as it slowly drains out. Always clean it up a little bit before I put the drain plug back on. Usually not too much mess there. You want to tighten it down pretty good. I'm not sure what spec it needs to, but just give it a good tighten down. Don't overdo it. Make sure your oil pan catcher underneath the vehicle is under the filter at this point. Your filter is going to have quite a bit of oil inside of it. When you take it off, it's going to start draining out. So be mindful of that. As soon as you take it off, you want to make sure you kind of point the lid upward so it's not spilling all over your engine. And always double check to see if the gasket stayed on the oil filter. You do not want that to stay on the engine. You'll end up leaving two of those gaskets on and you'll have a leak for sure. I always add a little bit of oil to the new filter. I don't really fill it up or anything like that. It's gonna get full through the engine. Always make sure I have something in there. And also, I always coat the rubber gasket with the oil. Learned that from other videos and people telling me to do that. I think it makes a better seal. And at this point, I just put on the new filter. Screw it on hand tight at first. Then you want to kind of wrench it down with that oil filter wrench. Those things are pretty handy. And here I use a funnel when I start adding the new oil. Try not to make a mess like I did. I put 5 quarts of the high mileage oil, 5W30, and I do a bottle of the Lucas oil, the oil stabilizer. That stuff is awesome stuff. It's really thick. If you have like any type of knocking on your engine, or they make that kind for leaks, it helps seal the engine up really good. Any high mileage vehicle could use some of that Lucas oil. It's good stuff. I appreciate you guys watching me change the oil in the XJ. Probably wasn't super exciting, but it definitely needed done. I don't know if this thing had an oil change for a long time. The guy that sold it to me, my buddy, he said he thinks it needs an oil change when he sold it to me. And then it looked like it had a Chrysler oil filter on there. I'm not saying that's the original one, but it's possible. It looks pretty old. It looked pretty black and thick oil. Hopefully it wasn't too sludgy. I'm going to check it when I pour it out here in a minute into the disposal container. But hopefully it all makes sense. You know, if this is your first time changing oil, it's not that hard. Hopefully you got through it with some a little bit of my instruction. There's this little bit of things I do that is probably pretty standard. Just want to make sure there's no dirt going into your valve cover hole there, and then make sure your oil filter is on tight, and make sure those gaskets are on each oil filter. Make sure you don't double gasket, or you will have a leak. I'm sure there's certain specs that everything's supposed to be tightened down to. I just make sure it's snug, and then I do another quarter turn or two, just make sure it's nice and tight. I don't want to have to fight with it to getting off. I had a hard time getting the drain plug off earlier. I think I bumped the camera. I have to go back and look at this thing, so you might have missed me getting off the drain plug, but I'll make sure I'll put the tree where the drain plug goes. And then yeah, I always put my Jeeps always have over 100,000 miles on them, so I always make sure I put the Lucas oil in it. The oil stabilizer kind of helps out quite a bit with some knocking and sealing up some problems. It's really thick, and it's good stuff. I've had some good luck with that stuff on the TJ, and hopefully this kind of gets the Jeep where it needs to be for running purposes. Probably gonna be more of my daily driver, like I said before. There's definitely things I want to do to it soon that are going to cost some money. I'm contemplating putting on some new shocks, but that needs new shocks. But I'm contemplating on just going ahead doing the 3-inch lift on it with the shocks at the same time. It's going to be about $300 to $400 more, but I think in the long run I'll be glad I did it. Thinking about buying something for the TJ either tonight or tomorrow. That's going to be a surprise, so you'll have to stay tuned for a video in the future for the TJ. I haven't been giving the TJ a lot of love. This purchase for the TJ will definitely be worth watching. I'm excited to get this item for the TJ. It definitely needs it. And stay tuned for more. Appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe, always helps me. Thank you. See ya.